You know what it is! It's Taco Tuesday!
Yo, what's good everyone? We're already in May. The weather is starting to warm up. We have some really nicer days ahead of us, even though we're in this kind of bear market. And word on the NFT streets is that we are in for a Solana Summer. Now, if you guys are like me and you just live on Twitter, you cannot go on Twitter right now without seeing Solana NFTs being talked about or being mentioned by pretty much everyone, but especially a lot of the big NFT and crypto influencers. Really, Solana Summer has kind of just been manifested by everyone in this space. I think it kind of started out as a joke, but now it seems like there is a ton of momentum and hype going to Solana NFTs from a lot of those people who, like myself, traditionally trade and invest in Ethereum NFTs. So today's video, I want to talk about what Solana Summer is actually going to do and how it's going to impact the greater NFT space, but more importantly, what NFT projects that are upcoming do you guys need to have on your radar so you guys can take advantage of all this hype going on right now, because there's going to be some parabolic gains and opportunities if you guys can pick and get in on the right projects. As always, make sure you guys hammer the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into things. So real quick, I just want to do a market overview. We're looking at OpenSea daily volume in Ethereum right now. And I mean, you guys know this, we're in more of a bear market right now, but you guys can see this strong trend downward. I think yesterday we did like 38 million or so in volume. Ideally, we want to get back to, at least 50 million, but 100 million is going to be that sign that things are really turning around. We're going to start getting bullish at that point. I don't think that's coming anytime soon, but just saying, 38 mil is a little bit low right now. We're going to be trying to get closer in that 50 to 100 mil range. All right, so shout out Jumpman NFT for this tweet that I saw, and he actually is going to give credit to Omega_ETH, but this is going to be looking at the different marketplaces, comparing OpenSea and then Magic Eden, which is basically the OpenSea equivalent for Solana. And so we're looking at November 1st, 2021 as a start, and then looking at May 1st, which was just about 2 weeks ago. And so it's clear that the daily users in OpenSea have obviously fallen off in this new year. January and February were some of the best months for NFTs. We were just at the peak of the bull run. And since then, we're obviously going to see a decline. I think it's interesting that since that decline, Magic Eden has had a strong increase since that moment. So definitely shows that we are seeing a lot more active users using Magic Eden. I don't know if that's necessarily new users in NFTs or if part of that is because a lot of people in Ethereum are moving to Solana. And so I talked about how influencers on Twitter are really pumping up, the Solana Summer narrative, but definitely around the OK Bears. All right, so heading over to Magic Eden, we're going to be looking at OK Bears, which I've kind of talked about in a few videos, but I haven't actually given like a true overview. But OK Bears are really going to be the collection right now that's kind of driving this Solana narrative as well. Art is going to be very similar to, Bored Ape Yacht Club, where it has those plain color backgrounds and then just a few, fairly minimalistic traits, but that are just really clean overall. And so typically, if this was on ETH, we would just call this, a Bored Ape derivative project. It does definitely have, a little bit of its own style, but in terms of the art, I mean, this is just, it's the Bored Ape Yacht Club template 100%. I think the real reason is that this is really just a community-driven success project. I think a lot of people are kind of just rallying around the art being clean, there being a bit of a strong community, and then OK Bears has this blueprint on their site, which just kind of talks about what could potentially be coming in the future. Really, to me, it feels a lot more just like a shield pump with OK Bears. I think a few of the right people bought in, and that's kind of created FOMO for a lot of other people on Twitter and in the space overall. And so one of the notables here, FaZe Banks, still a pretty big name in this space. Obviously, he talks about how OK Bears have a real shot to have a Bored Ape like come up in regards to SOL. So, there are some blue chip projects on Solana, but I don't think there's that one standout that really goes above and beyond everything else. And it seems like a lot of the right people in Ethereum are trying to basically mantle it or place it and prop it up as that big one. And so big names like, FaZe Bank swept the floor recently. Alex Becker has tweeted and showcased some of his bears that he's been buying. Nate Rivers, just a handful of influencers that are really shilling OK Bears. All right, so a project that minted just recently was Reptilian Renegade. And so this minted on Saturday. It was a 1 SOL mint price, if I'm not mistaken. And you're seeing now the floor is already at 40 SOL. So if you guys were able to get into that Discord early and mint it, that's a 40x right there, which is crazy. Obviously, SOL compared to ETH, the price is down significantly, so it's not as big of a profit or come up as a 40x usually sounds like. But either way, I was in the Discord before this project minted. A ton of people in there. It was very spammy in almost all of the chats. A lot of activity, a lot of hype around this one. It was only a 4,000 size collection, so that's something to keep in mind. But I mean, we look at the art here. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing that we haven't already seen before. And I think really just these hype projects that have a decent following, the community's pretty strong, you know, the art is solid. They're gonna absolutely rip following this OK Bears hype, because everyone is just looking to get in on the next hype SOL project that mints. Could Reptilian Renegade go higher? Absolutely. You know, 40 SOL is still really not that crazy when you look at the SOL price. But for me, there's a ton of upcoming projects that look really cool and have some really unique things that I think are stepping up the quality of what we're used to seeing in Solana NFTs. And so I'll share some of these with you right now. That way you guys can get a chance to get in on these, potentially get whitelisted, or at least get them on secondary early on while everyone is still trying to figure out what are the hype projects. All right, so if you guys are looking for the next project that is probably guaranteed to go parabolic, it is Trippin Ape Tribe. Literally, it sounds like a derivative name. 360,000 followers. That's insane. That's like up there with some of the top, you know, ETH projects that are minting and coming out. I'm sure some of that is botted and not entirely legit, but either way, there is a ton of hype. I mean, the engagement on these tweets, 77,000 retweets, is crazy, but the art is fire. It's really got that trippy psychedelic vibe, and it's just using that super like vibrant color similar to Doodles, where it just pops, it just stands out. Heading over to their Discord, they've got 238,000 people in here. Once again, I'm sure a lot of that is bots or spam accounts or whatnot, but either way, the activity in here is crazy. You can just tell by the emoji reacts on some of the artwork that they've shown recently. This is just, it's crazy. Like, these traits are crazy. In terms of a PFP wise, I know a ton of people are gonna kill to have this as a PFP. Definitely some really unique designs here, and I'm just a massive fan. Like, straight up, I just think this is dope. Now, they do have a website that looks pretty neat. It gives you a sense of kind of the greater story and lore that they're building. I will give them credit on this. The lore, they've definitely put a ton of time and energy into. You really get a sense that there's a greater universe being built here, and I think that's always key. Whenever these projects are doing that and they're doing their marketing, that whole mystery of what can come out of just the PFP and the artwork is a huge asset. So in their Discord, you guys can see, you know, they have these lore channels where they're really, you know, committed to building up this story. You guys can check out a ton more of the sneak peeks when you join in here. In my opinion, it is probably too late. It is definitely too late if you guys are not already actively pursuing, you know, whitelist in here. I'm not exactly sure when they're minting. I don't think they have a mint date set or a price. We do know the supply is going to be 8,888. Yeah, it's definitely probably too late to get whitelist. This is one that you're going to have to check out on secondary. Hopefully getting it probably sooner or like right after they mint would be a good play, because I could see the hype on this following that OK Bears level of volume. I want to focus now on projects that aren't minting necessarily soon. It's still fairly early, so you guys definitely have a chance to get whitelisted and get in these projects at the earliest possible entry. So we're looking at Jikan Studios here, which I've actually been in the Discord for a few days now. They've got 166,000 followers, so definitely growing, but they're not on that crazy level where it's too late yet. The supply is going to be 8,888 and it's set to mint at the end of May. So definitely, if you guys are interested, you guys can come in here, just be active in the community, try your chance at the giveaways, and then they do have nominations as well. If we look at the art here, it is going to be kind of around, you know, an ape with some pretty, I just think, like, unique traits. Like, this art to me, it doesn't pop as much as some others in terms of the color, but it just looks badass with like having, you know, different weapons. These apes definitely seem like some mean, scary ass dudes. I just think it's something that could do well. The key thing here, and they just did an AMA that's on their Twitter if you guys want to listen back to that to hear more, launching with this Hydra launch pad. So this is one of those launch pads that basically helps prop up market and really kind of just facilitate how a project launches. Hydra actually just did Reptilian Renegade, which I just talked about, you know, has performed extremely well. And so with Jikan Studios being from or operating with Hydra as well, I think the mint and everything should go really smoothly. and hopefully it's going to have that same level of success. All right, now we're looking at Great Goats. They already have 200,000 followers, so definitely not early on this one. But let's head over to their Discord. You know, the chat is going crazy. They have GOAT listed, you know, about 5,000 people. So I'm not exactly sure how big the collection is going to be, or if they're going to give any of that allocation to the public. But you guys definitely still have a chance in here. It's crazy competitive. As you guys can see, the chat is absolutely flying. And then if we look at the giveaways, for their giveaway for whitelist, there is 63,000 entries on this. 100% has to be botted. Like, there's just no possible way. Some key things to note: they don't have a roadmap that's actually been shared yet. It's under construction, which is something to keep an eye on, just in terms of as this project develops and we get closer to mint. And then looking at the sneak peeks, like I said, they do a lot of these kind of scenic images. You know, they have some other projects like OK Bears, they have the Trippin Apes, they have the Catalina whales. So they're pulling in a lot of these other projects. I don't know if that's hinting at a collab or a partnership of some kind. The only red flag here is that other than their Twitter, they don't have a ton of sneak peeks of what the actual PFPs are going to be. If this project is minting within, the next 2 or 3 weeks, that's definitely a red flag and something to keep an eye on. If this project is not going to mint for at least a month or maybe 2 months out, then I'm very bullish on Great Goats, as hopefully we'll see a lot more PFPs, we'll see a roadmap, we'll get more information. But that's something to definitely keep an eye on and just be careful with. The last product that I've got my eyes on that I kind of like is Kings of the Street, or KODS. Once again, massive following, about 150,000 followers. They've done some partnerships with, some of the bigger projects out there that I've talked about. And yeah, they just have some really solid activity and engagement. Once again, the engagement on their tweets is insane. Like 115,000 retweets. Once again, definitely botted, but it's just insane. And I think overall, I just really like the hip hop kind of street vibes that they have in, the brand that they're trying to create here. So heading over to their Discord, they've got a supply of 10,000. They don't have a mint price or a mint date as of yet. Definitely still opportunity for you guys to get whitelist in here. I don't think it's as late as some of the others. They do have a lot of events and different games where you guys have a chance to win whitelist. All right, so heading over and checking out some of the sneak peeks here. It's not going to be as emphasized on the head like the OK Bears and the Great Goats. You are going to get a little bit more of the body in these, which I think is cool, just in terms of like the traits and having more of an emphasis on the clothes for these PFPs, which I think is good. Like if you're trying to create a brand that has, streetwear and whatnot, I think this art is kind of spot on for what you're going to be looking for. But once again, really that heavy, like urban style, hip hop style that I think a lot of people like. And so we'll head over to their website. Once again, a clean website is always a good sign when we don't have a ton of information about, the project, the founders and whatnot. Just looking at what we have to work with, the website is pretty cool. This basically is their roadmap, but they say, this is not a roadmap. So it's kind of just a mind map, basically. Like, here are some ideas that we may do. We don't have anything concrete. And so that's going to wrap it up for today's video. 3 upcoming projects that I think are really good. I gave you guys a little bit of insight into what's driving the momentum in Solana right now. Look, we're in a bear market. You could tell that by the volume that I showed in the video. And so when we are, you have to adapt and kind of change the ways and then how you're operating in the space. If you guys have any questions about making the move or transition to Solana, how you guys can get started or whatnot, drop comments down below or DM me on Twitter at HotTacoMD, where I'm always talking about the projects that I'm looking at and really just my market feelings and sentiments overall. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hammer the like button, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, I'm out.